What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have a Chicago Bulls and San Antonio Spurs game reaction. It is a day late, and I apologize for that, but we're going to discuss, I guess, the positives and negatives that took place in the Spurs game. Ultimately, I find this game very hard to assess because, yeah, we lost the game, and that's 3 losses on the bounce, I'm pretty sure. And, we're sort of kind of reverting back to where we normally are, 6-4 record now, with a game against the Pistons tomorrow. That could be very tough. If we win that game, it's still a very good start. If we lose that game, 6-5, you're bouncing back to 500 sort of territory here. But regardless of what happens in that game, this game is hard to assess just because of just everything that took place, the injuries that occurred. We started this game with none of our backcourt, no Josh Giddey, no Kobe White. Obviously, we didn't have Zach Collins either. It's very hard to win games when basically 2 or 3 of your starters are kind of not there. And Zach Collins is a very, very, very important bench piece as well. So I find it very difficult to assess. But with that being said, I want to talk about this game. I want to give a shout out to the Bulls, but I also need to discuss one glaring negative that took place in this game. Before we get any further, if you liked the video and you want to see more from me, drop a like, drop a follow, and or subscribe if you are new. And let me know what you guys think about the Chicago Bulls, their game today, and your player of the game, as we lost this one 121 to 117. Again, we're versing the San Antonio Spurs with Victor Wembanyama, with Stephon Castle, I believe as well. A whole bunch of really solid young pieces, and a team in of their own right have only lost 2 games. Very, very hard team to beat on their best day, and very hard to obviously compete with when you don't have the proper players to really help in that area. But regardless of that, it was a very hard fought game. This Bulls team fought, battled, tooth and nail, fought like hell on home court to try and give us an entertaining game. And at the end of the day, whether we win or we lose this game, I respect the effort that was put into this. I respect the effort that was put in by the players that probably didn't expect to win this, or fans didn't expect them to win this when there was no Josh Giddey, definitely. Fans probably didn't expect us to win it with Josh Giddey. So the fact of the matter is, we did do a lot of good things in this game. And there is a lot of positives to take away, even from a loss like this. So I want to give respect to this team. Once again, even without a whole bunch of players, we did have a fair chunk of people getting into double figures. Matas Bazelis had 15 points. Herder had 23 points. Trey Jones had 20 points. Ayo had 20 points. Jalen Smith had 11 points. So again, the concept of play is there. The way that we want to play, it's good to know at least it can still be executed to some capacity without some of your key guys there. And it's only going to get better when those key guys return. Hopefully, Kobe White returns soon. We know Zach Collins is a bit fair his way away. Josh Giddey, hopefully that's a day-to-day situation. I don't really know what's happening there. But the style of play is there. The way we want to run our offense is there. And it's good to see guys step up to the plate. Next man up mentality. And we brought one heck of a game to the San Antonio Spurs. But the one glaring negative that we can all talk about, ladies and gentlemen, we talked about it pretty much every game that we've lost, and we need to talk about it now. Down the stretch, we were not good enough. We could not manage this game out. We could not find the firepower. We could not find our defensive intensity. Everything collapsed in the fourth quarter. And you might be saying, that's a bit harsh. How could you say something like that? Well, all you need to do is just look at the overview. Just look at the fourth quarter stats for the Spurs. 32 points they scored compared to the Bulls 19. So they almost doubled us. And in a game that was close, and in a game in which we fought back, we were down in the second quarter and we steamrolled our way back within minutes of action. So to kind of have that collapse, well, you could say it's expected. It's still never good enough. And this Bulls team needs to do a better job down the stretch. This is the difference between a great team and a good team and a mediocre team. It is down the stretch. And at the beginning of the season, we were winning those games down the stretch. We beat the Pistons down the stretch. We beat the Knicks down the stretch. We beat a whole bunch of teams. We beat Philadelphia down the stretch. We beat these teams in the fourth quarter. But there are a lot of games where we do collapse and we do kind of fall and stagnate on both ends of the ball. I still look at us defensively and I think we could do so much better defensively. I really believe that. And even what I expected to come out of this game didn't actually happen. I thought the Bulls would struggle in the paint and force their way out to the three-point line. That's what I thought would happen. We didn't necessarily do that. We shot 38 threes and we made 42% of them. 16 out of 38. That's not a bad return at all. It's better than what the Spurs shot, that's for sure. So we had some positives in this game, but when push comes to shove, if you can't play 4 quarters of basketball and if you can't deliver down the stretch, how many games are you expected to win? How many games can you drop? Because that's what's going to happen, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to drop games we should win. And that's how I feel with this game. We had a lead and we dropped it. They got the go-ahead bucket. They walked away with a victory. And we're left wondering, why can't the Bulls deliver down the stretch? So that's my glaring negative. It's the biggest negative I could give. It's almost the only negative I could give. Because every other negative I can think of, I really feel like because our star power just isn't there. And you might make the case, oh, if Josh Giddey had played, if Kobe White had played, if Zach Collins had played, we would have won the game. Maybe. But we should have won it now. We should have won it without those guys. Do you know what I mean? We should have won it without them. That's what I'm kind of referring to. If we're trying to close down the stretch, we could have won this game. And the fact of the matter is we didn't. Taking a look at some individual stats, ladies and gentlemen, I want to give a big shout out to Kevin Huerter. Once again, another really, really good game because he had 23 points and it was very much well-needed points, but he also had 5 assists and 5 rebounds. Look, it's clear that maybe I'm wrong here. I know he's been a starter almost most places he's played, but I feel like he's having his best stints in his career with the Chicago Bulls. He has more responsibility offensively than he probably did with teams like Atlanta or I think Sacramento as well. You know, they kind of just referred him to the three-point shot, and that's really about it. On this Bulls team, he is finding guys left, right, and center. He's crashing the boards. He's able to put the ball on the floor, make a difference, and make threes. He's doing a little bit of everything for this Bulls team. And defensively, you could tell he's really trying to lock in. I really thought he had an outstanding game today, and he is in contention for the player of the game for me. Trey Jones, another shout out for him. 20 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds. I really loved what he was able to do for the Chicago Bulls here today as well. And he did it against his former side. So I think a lot of fans from the Spurs side of things will probably look at a Trey Jones and say, wow, you know, that's definitely one of those players you could really have on your team right now. I know they're 8-2, don't get me wrong. And he would be a bench option there too, for sure. But viable player, man. Viable player. I think any team would be lucky to have a Trey Jones. And we've got to be grateful that we got a Trey Jones on a very good contract as well. The Bulls did some amazing business there. We got guys like... We'll start with, I guess, guys like Patrick Williams, who had 5 points and 2 rebounds. Again, we need our bench to produce here. Most of our bench didn't really produce. Only 2 players on our bench produced. Dalen Terry had 4 points, and that's about it. Julian Phillips played 9 minutes, had 1 rebound. Not good enough, in my opinion. Patrick Williams, as I said, 5 points and 2 rebounds in 25 minutes. He could definitely be doing a lot better than that. But yeah, Javon Carter had 6 points in 8 minutes. I feel like some of that might have been garbage time. I didn't watch the entirety of the game, so I can't really tell for sure. But, you know, that's not too bad. But we got guys like Ayo, who played 33 minutes off the bench, and he had 20 points, 5 assists, 2 rebounds. That is incredible for Ayo Dosunmu. He played starters minutes, but he produced starters numbers off the bench, trying to carry the load with a bench unit that didn't really give him much help. And then Jalen Smith had another good game today. 21 minutes, 11 points, 12 rebounds, and 2 assists. You might be able to make the case that he should have played more. Vucevic had 11 points, 6 assists, and 8 rebounds. I feel like, especially with some teams that play bigger, the Spurs don't necessarily play bigger. Wemby's massive, but other than that, their team is a relatively average-sized team. You know, I think they started Harrison Barnes in this game and whatnot. You know, I'd like to see Jalen Smith and Vuce play together just for a bit. I'm not asking for a whole starting lineup of Jalen Smith and Nikola Vucevic. And probably in this game, it wouldn't have worked. But, you know, I'm thinking of the Bucks game. I think that could have worked. Maybe the Cavs game could have worked. You know, not necessarily against the Spurs. But, you know, it's hard to see someone play that well and then kind of get restricted minutes in the end. So, you know, it is what it is. I guess at least he's playing. He's doing well when he's playing as well. With that being said, my player of the game is Kevin Huerter. I think it's a very simple choice. But what do you guys think? Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next game reaction tomorrow against the Detroit Pistons. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care. And peace.